This woman ran 100 meters barefoot over Lego bricks in less than 25 seconds. And that's not even the craziest world record of walking barefoot on Lego. In this video, I'll be showing you the most insane Lego world records ever set, from speed feats to giant towers, and even the farthest distance traveled by a Lego minifigure. You won't believe how crazy some of these records are. So let's start with the one from the intro. In 2021, a woman named Gabrielle Wall set the record for the fastest 100-meter barefoot run over Lego bricks. She did it in 24.75 seconds, which honestly doesn't sound that fast, until you remember she did it running barefoot on Lego bricks. I don't know about you, but stepping on one brick makes me want to cry. So doing it for over 100 meters straight is actually insane. But like I said in the intro, this isn't even the craziest barefoot Lego record in this video. Before I get to that though, let me show you something way different. In 2019, a guy named David Aguilar built the world's first functional prosthetic arm entirely out of Lego. This guy was born without a right forearm, and instead of just accepting it, he decided to build his own arm using Lego Technic pieces. The craziest part is that it actually works. He can pick things up, move his fingers, and do pretty much everything a normal arm can do. He's made multiple versions of it over the years, and each one gets better and better. This is one of those records that isn't just impressive, it's genuinely life-changing, and it shows you can do way more with Lego than just build sets. Speaking of doing way more with Lego, let me ask you a question. Have you ever seen a life-size drivable car made entirely out of Lego? Because that's exactly what Lego and Bugatti did in 2018. They built a life-size replica of the Bugatti Chiron using over 1 million Lego Technic pieces, and the best part is that it actually drives. They tested it out and got it up to 12 miles per hour, which I know isn't that fast, but you have to remember, this thing is made entirely out of Lego. The fact that it can move at all is crazy, let alone driving at a speed faster than the average human can run. This build took over 13,000 hours to complete and weighs over 3,300 pounds. The engine is made entirely out of Lego Technic motors. So yeah, this thing is 100% Lego from top to bottom. No metal framing, no real engine, just Lego. This is genuinely one of the most impressive things Lego has ever been a part of. And it really makes you wonder what else is actually possible with these plastic bricks. So now that we've seen what it can do with engineering, let's talk about something way simpler, but still just as impressive. Height. Now, obviously, when you're a kid, one of the first things you do with Lego is try to build the tallest tower you possibly can before it falls over and you have to start all over again. So it makes total sense why there would be a world record for this. The current holder is a tower in Milan, Italy, that's over 114 feet tall. To put this into perspective, that's about as tall as an 11-story building. They used over 550,000 bricks to build it, and it took over 4 days to complete. The thing is, though, this record gets broken pretty often. Before Milan had it, the tallest tower was in Tel Aviv, and before that, it was in Budapest. Each time someone breaks this record, they can only break it by a few feet. So it's really just a competition of who can stack bricks the highest without their tower tipping over and ruining everything. If you thought that tower was big though, just wait until you hear about the biggest Lego model ever built. In 2013, Lego built a life-size replica of the X-Wing starfighter from Star Wars in Times Square. And I'm not kidding when I say this thing was massive. It's 42 feet long, 44 feet wide, and weighs over 45,000 pounds. They used over 5.3 million bricks to build it, and it took 32 people working full-time for 4 months straight to finish it. In case it still hasn't hit you yet, let me put the size into perspective for you. This thing is about as long as a semi-truck and weighs about as much as 4 fully grown elephants. When you look at pictures of it, it doesn't even look real. It looks like someone photoshopped it into the picture. But nope, it's 100% real. This is the kind of build that makes you realize Lego isn't limited by its size. It's only limited by how much time and money you're willing to spend. Clearly, these builders put in a ton of time. But what about people whose goal is the exact opposite? There are people out there trying to speed run Lego, like what people do in video games, only it's putting together a giant pile of bricks. This has been done for countless sets, but the 3 main ones I want to tell you about are the UCS Millennium Falcon with 7,541 pieces, the Titanic with 9,090 pieces, and the World Map, which has the most pieces out of any released Lego set at 11,695 pieces. Sets that are this big take days or even weeks to build, depending on who's doing it. But Ivan Yu, Sebastian Hayworth, and Cooper Wright all built their sets in less than 10 hours. These are all insane accomplishments, but let's start with the Millennium Falcon and work our way up in pieces. This record is held by Ivan Yu from Ontario, Canada, and he built the set in just 7 hours, 36 minutes, and 37 seconds. An insane runtime, but it gets better. Sebastian Hayworth holds the record for the Titanic, and at just 15 years old, he built it in 8 hours, 42 minutes, and 12 seconds. But the craziest speed build record of all is held by Cooper Wright. At just 13 years old, he built the world map set in 9 hours, 14 minutes, and 49 seconds. That's only about 40 minutes longer than Sebastian took to build the Titanic, and that set has 2,000 less pieces than the world map. Clearly, Cooper is on a completely different level when it comes to speed building. The amount of mental fortitude you need to build the world map that fast is out of this world. But if we're going to talk about mental fortitude, I have to tell you about the record set by Sonny Molina. But before that, you have to know who he is, because he isn't just some regular guy. Sonny's made it his life goal to collect as many world records as possible, and he's actually doing pretty well. He likes to set records that he knows no one else can beat, like owning the biggest collection of Pringle cans, and most half marathons ran barefoot on consecutive days, which he did 20 of, by the way. Genuinely crazy. Like I said, Sonny isn't just some regular guy, so it's no surprise he holds the world record for the longest distance walked barefoot on Lego bricks. Gabrielle holds the record for the fastest 100-meter dash, but that was over in 25 seconds. Sonny, on the other hand, walked over 5.5 miles on Lego bricks completely barefoot in May of 2021. I can't even imagine how much pain he was in by the time he was done. But the crazy thing is, he had already broken this record twice before doing it again in 2021. I don't know what level of determination this guy has, but clearly it's off the charts. Sonny's pretty psychotic when it comes to world records. So let's talk about something a little less brain-melting: the biggest Lego collections. Just like speedrunning, people hold world records for all sorts of collections. So to keep things simple, I'm just going to show you two: the biggest minifigure collection and the biggest set collection. The person with the most minifigures in the world is Steven Van Dyke. He set this record in 2023 and had 11,803 minifigures to his name. Apparently, his collection got so big that he couldn't even keep them in his house anymore. He beat the person with the previous record by over 2,000 minifigures, so he definitely has this spot secure. But the record for the most sets collected might be even cooler. It's held by a Czech man whose name I will absolutely butcher, but he's been collecting Lego sets since he was 5 years old. I'm not sure how old he is now, but clearly he's a grown man. So he's been collecting for a really long time now. His collection also got too big for his house, but he wanted everyone to be able to experience his collection with him. So he opened the first museum of bricks in Prague. Now, I will say, both of these records come from Guinness World Records themselves, but there's someone out there who actually might have broken both of them: Duck Bricks. He posted an updated collection video about 6 months ago, but unfortunately, I am not watching all that. So if any of you remember the exact amount of sets and minifigures he owns, let me know down in the comments. Moving on though, people don't just collect minifigures, sometimes they put them on display, like our goat from the Czech Republic, which leads us to our next world record: the biggest permanent minifigure installation. This record is held by the Minifigured project, and it was set all the way back in 2006. It's based on one of the most famous buildings from the Industrial Revolution, called the Immersive Lego. It's located in Manchester, New Hampshire, and because of how famous it is, people wanted to honor it in its hometown with the most famous toy in the world. So they took over 8,000 minifigures and an unbelievable amount of bricks and made the building in minifigure scale. It took them 10,000 hours to build it, which started in 2004 and ended in 2006 when they set the record. The original building could hold up to 17,000 people, so it really was the perfect building to recreate in Lego. That is, if you're trying to set a world record. Now, this next record is held by Lego themselves, which is a little unfair, but it's still really cool. Back in 2019, Lego employees put together the biggest Lego Star Wars minifigure display ever made using only Stormtrooper minifigures. And the best part is they made it in the shape of a Stormtrooper's helmet. It was 20 feet tall by 20 feet wide, and when it was all said and done, they'd used a grand total of 36,440 minifigures. That's more than Steven's and Duck Brick's minifigure collection combined. 12 people made this record happen, and it only took them 38 hours to build it, which is really impressive. However, it's not as impressive as these next few records, because these are some of the weirdest and most awesome Lego world records ever set. The first one is the biggest Lego great ball contraption ever made. If you don't know what these are, think of the game Mousetrap, where a ball is constantly on the move through different obstacles. Then completely forget about it, because this ball contraption is way bigger than a board game. The record was set by Mako Arts back in 2018, and their contraption had 259 different modules. If that makes no sense though, just look at how long the video is on YouTube. It took the ball 40 minutes to make it through the entire contraption. Imagine being the guy who had to film all that. They used all sorts of mechanisms, like stairs, conveyor belts, and elevators to keep things interesting, and it definitely worked. The people who made this clearly know a thing or two about engineering, but this next record requires a lot less brainpower, because now I'm gonna tell you about the longest chain made with Lego bricks. And no, I don't mean a chain like the ones rappers wear, I mean a literal line put together with Lego bricks. The record was set back in September of 2014 in California, and with the help of 447 people, they made a Lego chain that was over half a mile long. They had to use over 190,000 bricks to build it, but because of how many people were doing it, the record got set in just 6 hours and 53 minutes. The reason so many people were involved was because the event was a part of a charity fundraiser for a state-of-the-art special needs playground called the Rotary Dreamcatcher Playground. It was a pretty big deal in the community, so Lego was the perfect way to bring everyone together. Since people made a chain with bricks, you already know someone had to do it with minifigures too. But the story is actually pretty adorable. In June of 2025, 10-year-old Tyler Recht in Rye, New York wanted to set the record for the longest chain of Lego minifigures. But the thing is, this record didn't even exist. He wanted to be the first and only person to make and hold this record, so he got to work. With the help of some friends and family, Tyler made a chain of 1,816 minifigures on the local high school track. Since he was the first person to do it, there was a chance that Guinness either wouldn't see his chain or wouldn't acknowledge it. But that definitely didn't happen, because Tyler officially has his very own world record on the Guinness website. Congrats, my guy. Anyways, there's one last world record I want to show you, and if you thought Lego holding one was unfair, get ready, because this one's held by NASA. Yeah, the space program that's funded by the US government has a world record with Lego. And funnily enough, you might already know what it is. Back in 2011, NASA launched the Atlas V rocket on a trip to Jupiter. Their plan was to drop a satellite named Juno into the gas giant and watch the footage it captures before it inevitably goes offline. It took 5 years for the rocket to finally get there, and when it did, everything went according to plan. Juno got sent into Jupiter, they got some cool footage, and Atlas V came back. But that still leaves the big question: how is Lego involved in this, and what's the world record? Well, NASA holds the world record for the farthest distance traveled by a Lego minifigure, because on board Juno were 3 minifigures made out of space-grade aluminum. Lego gave them to NASA because they're friends, I guess, and because of that, there's literally no way anyone is beating this record in our entire lifetime. But what was your favorite world record in this video? Be sure to let me know down in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe.